Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. I'm Josh Larky. This is the Dominator. So we've done starts and sits each week with some underdog picks at the end. Today it's special. It's week 18. If you're in your fantasy football championship this week, you did it wrong. A lot of teams are resting players. Why are you not pushing for that week before the week 17 championship? Anyway, I'm not here to preach. I'm here to give. I've got 10 underdog fantasy picks for the good people. I'm going to quickly just go through all 16 games this week as rapid fire as possible because some of these games don't matter. We'll start with the AFC, then we're going to hit the NFC because we have to finish. We have to finish with picks for that Vikings-Lions game, what should be the game of the season. We'll get to that shortly. AFC, we've got two matchups on, Saturday. The schedule just keeps being very annoying for my sleep schedule, my work schedule. I'm recording this Friday morning. We've got the Browns at the Ravens. Bailey Zappi has been announced quarterback starter for the Browns. The Ravens are going to lock up the division with a win. And the Ravens are 17.5-point favorites. It's a 41.5 game total. That basically means the Browns are projected for only 12 points. That's hilarious. I like Lamar Jackson higher, 203.5 passing yards on Underdog Fantasy, higher than 203.5. It's 207.5 on most of the sports books. So this is a better number. Lamar himself is 12-4 to the higher this year. And I think Ravens teammates and Lamar himself want him to edge out Josh Allen for the MVP as well. We've got one more pick in this game. We've got Jerry Jeudy higher, 53.5 receiving yards. Now let's break this down because at first glance, it sounds terrible. Why pick on a Browns player? So Bailey Zappi is a far, far, far better passer than Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So we have an upgrade there. In 6 starts for the Patriots at the end of last year, Zappi had at least 180 passing yards in 4 of them. He's fine. He's a backup, but he's fine. The Ravens have been a pass funnel defense all season. And then we look, and this is really what secured it for me. David Njoku is out. Jerome Ford is out. Cedric Tillman is on IR. The targets should flow to Jeudy. They want him to be happy and end the season happy. Remember, he signed a multi-year extension with the Browns this offseason. And there's also just no one to throw to, and it's a competent enough backup. There's truly nobody else on this team. Bengals at Steelers. Now, if the Ravens lose versus the Browns, which is unlikely, remember, 17.5-point favorites. For some reason, if the Ravens lose, then in the Saturday night game, the Steelers, if they win, they get the division. Let's assume, though, that the Ravens win against Bailey Zappi's Browns. The Steelers will be playing for seeding, which I think they're going to be motivated for, but I'd be lying if I said that I guarantee motivation. I think they'd be motivated. They're playing for the 5 or the 6 seed. If they win, let's say the Ravens win, and then if the Steelers win against the Bengals, competitive game, they get the 5 seed. The Steelers, with the 5 seed, would face a sputtering Texans team in round 1 of the playoffs. And that's important. Wouldn't you rather face the Texans than the Ravens? I mean, I'd much rather face the Texans than the Ravens. Maybe the Steelers don't care. I think everyone out there would rather face the Texans. But if the Steelers lose and then the Chargers on Sunday win, Steelers 6 seed, Chargers 5 seed. It's very complicated. I assure you most of these games are not complicated. There's nothing to play for in a lot of them. But we've got 2 Saturday games that matter. So yeah, basically, assuming the Ravens win, we have a motivated but not super motivated Steelers team that wants to face the Texans. Bengals need a win here as well, though. They're very motivated because if the Bengals win and the Broncos and Dolphins lose, the Bengals squeak into the playoffs. Wild. And I've got one play in this game. It's a Bengals play. Joe Burrow, higher, 36.5 yards longest completion. So Burrow is 12-4 to the higher this year. That's good to start with. Including against the Steelers earlier this year, he had a 49-yard pass to Jahmyr Chase. Let's look at the 4 misses. because I think that's important. The 4 times, Burrow's longest completion was not higher than 36.5 yards. Against Cleveland, twice. The Browns stink. There's not that much of a need to push the pace generally. But anyway, Browns stink. Did that twice. Then the Patriots, and then the Giants. What do the Browns twice, Patriots, Giants have in common? They're terrible teams. Burrow threw 30 or fewer times in each game. So basically, Joe Burrow is not passing, and then he doesn't have a long completion. The pass attempts line for Joe Burrow, though, in this game is not 30 times or fewer. It's 39.5 on Underdog. Essentially, the fantasy picks, the betting community thinks Joe Burrow is going to pass a lot. And when he passes a lot, he hits this higher. Is it a guarantee? No. Do I think it's a savvy pick? Absolutely. I think he gets the deep completion on Saturday against the Steelers. Houston Texans at the Titans. Oof. 38.5 point game total. The home Titans are 1.5 point favorites over the Texans. Texans are resting starters. There's nothing to play for. Tony Pollard needs 83 rushing yards for $250K. He needs 2 rushing touchdowns for $200K. There is not much listed for Tony Pollard on Underdog right now. So incentives-wise, there's not much there. Pretty much a throwaway divisional game in terms of props. Before we hit the next game, just a heads up, if you're looking to draft right now, you already missed fantasy season, check out Fast Draft for best ball. This is something that is essentially the baby of Matt Kelly, of Billy Muzio. Off-season tournaments are already open. I won over $2,500 using Fast Draft during the regular season. You will see my handle, Josh Larky, in those drafts. This is becoming my new favorite place for best ball. Fast Draft. Check it out. All right. Jaguars at the Colts. Both teams out of the playoffs. Throwaway divisional game in terms of the props. The only things listed are Jonathan Taylor rushing yards, 101.5. Pretty high. Probably deserved. Brian Thomas Jr. receiving yards, 87.5. Pretty high. Well deserved. All right. Another one we'll breeze through. Bills at the Patriots. Bills have the number 2 seed no matter what. It is over. They have the number 2 seed. Chiefs have the number 1. Patriots secure the number 1 pick in the draft with a loss. 38.5 point game total. Bills, 2.5 point favorites. There's nothing to see here. Drake May, 210.5 passing yards is the only thing listed for this game. All right. Throwaway game again. Oh, here we go. Just kidding. This one's a little more interesting. Chargers at the Raiders. Chargers lock up the number 5 seed with a win and a Steelers loss. We talked about that scenario before. We know the Chargers and pretty much every team out there would rather face the Texans in round 1 of the playoffs than a team like the Ravens. If the Steelers win, the Chargers have nothing to play for. 41.5 point game total. Chargers are currently 4.5 point favorites right now. It's a tough one for picks on the Chargers end, especially because if the Steelers win, they are locked into the 6th seed no matter what. Steelers lose. Now they want to win to get the 5 seed. Chiefs at the Broncos. This is an interesting one. And we actually have a prop for this as well. We got a high-low line to take on Underdog Fantasy. Chiefs at the Broncos. Chiefs have the number 1 seed clinched. They will rest starters. The Broncos clinch a playoff berth with a win or a Dolphins loss and a Bengals loss. So the Broncos want to win this against the Chiefs backups. It's a 39.5 point game total. The Broncos are 10.5 point favorites. Whopping 10.5 point favorites. Sorry, Bengals. Sorry, Dolphins. Like it's very difficult for these teams to get in. The Broncos basically have to throw a game against the backups of the Chiefs and Carson Wentz. We've seen crazier things, but it's unlikely. Courtland Sutton needs 82 receiving yards for a $500,000 bonus. Now, here's my Courtland Sutton line that I like. I know a lot of people out there are going to be like, I'll just take over 70, like higher 71.5 yards. If he needs 82 yards for the bonus, let's do it that way. Sure, I think they're probably going to try to get him there, but 10.5 point favorites. I think the Broncos might run the ball a lot if they're up big in the second half, because ultimately they want to win this game. it gets them into the playoffs. Here's what I think. I think the team tries to get Courtland Sutton his 82 yards early on in the game. It's an unmotivated Chiefs team, a lot of backups. Rather than 71.5, here's the line I like. Courtland Sutton, higher 33.5 receiving yards in the first half. 33.5 is much lower than 71.5. It's less than half. If game script plays out how people think it will, the Broncos are just going to run the piss out of the ball in the second half. I think they're going to at least try to get Courtland Sutton his yards early. And it wouldn't be surprising if he has 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 yards in the first half. I just think it's such a low number to do the 33.5. And just think that the team knows about his incentives. He knows, the players know. And 33.5 is pretty low against some backups. I like that a lot. Final game in the AFC. Dolphins at the Jets. Dolphins clinch a playoff berth if they win and the Broncos lose. Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Waddle practiced on Thursday. I'm recording Friday morning. Tua's status is still very much up in the air, though. I'm going to stay away from this game. We still aren't even sure if Tua's playing or not. He practiced last week and then they didn't play him. We know that the Dolphins offense and the overall game environment look very, very different depending if it's Tua or Tyler Huntley as their quarterback. And don't worry, we've got picks in the NFC coming right up.
Hey, I know it's a popular statistic to cite, these underdog pick'ems, the vast majority of people go more than on any given player. Yeah, close to 80% of people, but that's because it's easier to find the shootouts than it is to find the dud games every Sunday afternoon. Like we knew week 5, Ravens-Bengals was going to be a shootout. And there goes Lamar Jackson for 4 touchdowns. There goes Joe Burrow for 5 touchdowns. Derrick Henry gets there. Zay Flowers is over 100 yards. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins both got there, as well as Chase Brown. Both Chases got there. You go more than, you win 100x your payout on Underdog with their Pick 6 contest. But then you look at Dolphins-Patriots, that's going down the toilet, right? Too bad Ramondre Stevenson at 18 fantasy points. But you improve your chances at positive returns when you correlate with these Underdog pick'ems. Use promo code Underworld. This is the biggest bonus Underdog has ever given out, up to $125. Promo code is Underworld. Put in $250, you get $125. Now go start picking.
Hi, welcome back, everyone. I'm Josh Larky. This is the Dominator. We're recording week 18. It's a beautiful Friday morning out here in Dallas. This one's for the Podfather. How about them Cowboys? I've told the people I'm working on it. It gets better each week. It flows off the tongue. We'll hit on that Cowboys game in just a minute. So NFC matchups, we hit the AFC. I've got a few underdog fantasy picks for you in the NFC. I'm looking, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've gone through 4 picks. I've got 6 more picks for the good people. Let's get right down to it. We've got the Panthers at the Falcons. Falcons clinched the division and a playoff berth if they win, and the Buccaneers lose to the Saints. That being said, the Buccaneers are 13.5-point favorites against the Saints. Most likely what happens, Falcons beat the Panthers, and then the Bucs beat the Saints, and the Bucs win the division. We will see what happens here. I think if you're going to make picks on this game, I think it should either be focused on the Falcons' rushing attack, which should steamroll the Panthers, or involving the Panthers' pass attack, which I think will have a good day against a weak Falcons secondary. They are a pass funnel defense. Now, I don't have any picks because I looked at the lines. I did not like what the numbers were. You might disagree with me. Those are the angles I would consider just based on the matchups. Giants at the Eagles. Eagles locked into the number 2 seed. I heard Tanner McKee will start at quarterback for the Eagles. I hope I got that right in the news. It is brutal. Then the Giants are the Giants. Thank you very much, folks. I do have a Giants. I like this underdog fantasy line. Malik Neighbors, higher, 69.5 receiving yards. You might be like, Josh, what is going on here? You said the Giants are the Giants. Well, Eagles are not motivated. A lot of starters are probably resting. They have the number 2 seed. The Giants are going to be facing some backups. If we look at higher, 69.5 for Malik Neighbors, he has 64 or more yards in 6 straight games. So when he's missing, it's barely under. Overall, at least 64 yards in 11 of 14 games. He always hovers in this area. The real kicker here is, like I said, the Eagles have nothing to play for. Head coach Nick Sirianni has mentioned the team will be resting starters. The Giants probably want to help their star rookie enjoy one final good game in what has otherwise been a disappointing season. You can disagree with me. You can say I'm using my gut too much. That is perfectly fine. I have some more analytical picks coming up. I just like Malik Neighbors. I want to watch him play football. I think he will have a good game against some backup players for the Eagles. All right. How about the Cowboys? Commanders at Cowboys. Commanders lock up the number 6 seed if they win, or the Packers lose. There's some incentive here. I don't think it's just like in the AFC where teams would rather face the Texans than the Ravens. I think the Commanders do not want to face the Eagles on the road. I think they want to win this game. Much better to face the Rams or the Buccaneers, right? I'd rather face the Rams or the Buccaneers than the Eagles. I don't have any underdog fantasy picks. None are available yet for this game. Bears at Packers. Like I mentioned with the Commanders, the Packers get the number 6 seed if they win and the Commanders lose. So if the Packers win against the Bears, Commanders lose against the Cowboys, then there's some incentive because I think they want to face the Rams or the Buccaneers rather than the Eagles. Josh Jacobs was quoted this week saying, here we go. Just being honest, being realistic, I don't see me taking that many carries in this game. Oh, interesting. I think Josh Jacobs plays on the first drive or two, then rests up for the playoffs. And here's my play on this. Josh Jacobs lower than half a rushing and receiving touchdown, basically saying that he will not score in this game. It is a 1.13x multiplier. That is awesome. We're getting basically like plus odds here. There's no guarantee Jacobs scores if he plays the whole game anyway. We know how that works, but I think there's a chance he gets 3 to 5 touches and plays a drive or two and doesn't score. I think this is the sneakiest line of the game, that there's just a real chance Jacobs barely plays. He even said himself he's not going to get many carries. He could be in there for a drive. We don't know what his playing time will be. It's a good matchup against the Bears, but that's one that I like just purely because we might barely see him play at all. Saints at the Buccaneers. Bucs clinch the division with a win or a Falcons loss. Now, if the Buccaneers win and the Rams lose, the Buccaneers get the number 3 seed. Now, here's why I think that could happen. The Buccaneers are 13.5-point favorites against the Saints. This is not supposed to be a close game. It's Spencer Rattler. The Buccaneers are going to steamroll them. So if they win, and then we have the Rams, who we'll talk about shortly, but the Rams are already resting starters. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be their quarterback. So already that game is in doubt. I think the Bucs win this game. They clinch the number 3 seed and the division. Mike Evans needs 5 catches and 85 receiving yards for $3 million. I think he gets there. That puts him at 70 catches and 1,000 yards for the season. So you might be like, well, let's take Mike Evans props. Not so fast. So he needs 85 yards. Mike Evans his line began in the high 80s a few days ago. It's already up to 97.5 yards. That's more than his incentive. That's a shitload of yards. I mean, what are we doing at this point? Not that I'm not going to take the lower, but I just think it's high enough that I don't want to touch it. I don't think this game's close. I think there's a chance that Mike Evans has like 88 yards, and then they're like, great, take him out of the game, rest him up. He got his incentives, he got his 1,000 yards, and we are just demolishing the Saints. Now we have the Niners at the Cardinals. Josh Dobbs at quarterback for the Niners instead of Brock Purdy. He has a nerve issue in his throwing arm. Kyler Murray needs 50 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown for a $750,000 incentive bonus, which would put him at 600 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns rushing. Unfortunately, there's pretty much nothing available for this game. You have a Kyler Murray pass yards line, 225.5. Trey McBride receiving yards line, 73.5. I will not touch those personally. Seahawks at the Rams. As I mentioned before, Jimmy Garoppolo's at quarterback. If the Rams lose and the Buccaneers win, then the Rams get the 4 seed and they're going to host whoever loses Lions-Vikings, which is so fun. We'll talk about that shortly. That's probably what's going to happen because they're resting everybody. So I think what's most likely at this point is that Rams get the 4 seed and they have a well-rested team hosting a tired Vikings or Lions team. Seahawks are 6.5-point favorites in this game, even though they're on the road. Game total is only 38.5. It should be kind of ugly. Seahawks opened as 5.5-point favorites. It's moved to 6.5 already. And here's my play here. So it's not a super high game total, but 22.5 implied points for the Seahawks is decent, around 3 touchdowns. I'm going Zach Charbonnet higher, 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. Basically, I'm saying that I think Zach Charbonnet will score. I'm taking him higher, so I'm basically saying Zach Charbonnet scores a touchdown rushing or receiving. Sports books do not have any touchdown scorers posted for this game. Zach Charbonnet has scored in 4 of 6 games when he played at least half the snaps. Kenneth Walker's on injured reserve. This Rams team is not all that motivated. I think Charbonnet scores here. I think he scores like 60% of the time, which when we're looking at these 50-50-ish lines, that's good enough for me. Probability-wise, if that's what I really think it is, which I do, we like that. Last game, I've got 3 picks in this, the big finale. Folks, I'm Josh Larky. This is the Dominator. Just a heads up, be tuned into everything Player Profiler this offseason. I am also working on some Dynasty rankings. Twitter is @JLarkyTweets. Blue Sky is @Josh Larky. I hope to have those Dynasty rankings up in the next few weeks. I will have a nice little cheat sheet for you, player values and tiers for Dynasty, little trade value chart as it is. I hope the good people will like that. Now, last game, Vikings at the Lions. Oh, baby. 56.5-point over under for the game total. This is beautiful. This is what dreams are made of here. So the Lions are very slight favorites, 2.5-point favorites at home. It's basically a toss-up for the most part. The winner of this game gets the number 1 seed and a first-round bye. The loser is the 5 seed. This is ridiculous. The loser is the 5 seed, and they would travel to the Buccaneers, Rams, or Falcons for round 1. I think that loser probably can beat and would be favored against any of those teams. But it's worth noting, wouldn't you rather just get the 1 seed and a first round bye? This game is so high stakes. I love it. First play. We're going to go with a lower. We haven't really gone with the lowers yet today. And you know me, I try to make money. I don't care about the highers, lowers. I try to make money. Here's where we got a lower here. Huge game. We got a lower. I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs lower. 88.5 rushing yards. The Vikings are a top 3 run defense. Running back rooms average only 73 rushing yards at under 4 yards per carry against them this year. Gibbs is coming off an 18 carry game against the Niners just 6 days ago on Monday Night Football. The rush attempts line of 18.5 for Jahmyr Gibbs is getting pretty heavily juiced to the under. I think the team uses Gibbs more in space this game as a receiver based on the matchup. And you might say, well, he was over against the Vikings earlier this year. Yeah, but he was playing in a backfield with David Montgomery. Things were different. And he was coming off 6 days rest where they need him for the playoffs. 88.5 rushing yards. That's just a high number. The rush attempts line for Gibbs actually opened at 19.5. It's already fallen to 18.5. Now the juice is on the under. People are starting to wake up to they might not ram Gibbs up the middle in this game. 2 more picks in this game. Sam Darnold. Higher. 12.5 rushing yards. Now, the Lions allow the 5th most rushing yards to quarterbacks this year. They are great at stopping the run, forcing teams to pass against them. This creates more opportunities for quarterbacks facing the Lions to scramble. Quarterbacks are 11-5 to the over on 12.5 rushing yards against the Lions this year. In fact, those 11 quarterbacks had at least 19 rushing yards against the Lions each time. Here are the quarterbacks who didn't reach 19 rushing yards. Matthew Stafford. He does not run. Dak Prescott in the 47-9 blowout where they got steamrolled. They got cooked by the Lions. And Cooper Rush came in very early in that game to take reps. Jordan Love. He's averaging 6 rushing yards per game this year. CJ Stroud, that one hurts. He's averaging 14.5 rushing yards per game. That is a miss, CJ Stroud. And then Mac Jones. Mac Jones, not super mobile. Really, CJ Stroud's the only one who probably coulda, woulda, shoulda gotten there. Darnold himself is averaging 12.5 rushing yards per game already. He had a season high 39 rushing yards against the Lions the last time that he played them. Teams just run more against the Lions with their quarterbacks. Finally, 10th pick, and then I'll get you out of here. I'm Josh Larky. This is the Dominator. We will have more episodes coming this offseason. We will have more this offseason. We will have more in the fantasy play, or the NFL playoffs. We had the fantasy playoffs. We will have, hopefully, some more picks for the NFL playoffs. Underdog Fantasy. Don't let us down here. Keep them coming. Justin Jefferson, higher than 6.5 receptions. He's 8-8 on this line for the season. We don't like that. It looks like a 50-50 line at first glance. We put the binoculars on, 50-50 line. Higher, lower, 6.5 receptions. What do we need to get receptions? This might sound like a stupid question, but I think it's important to ask. We need pass attempts to get receptions. Darnold is averaging 31.5 pass attempts per game. But if we look at the pass attempts line for this game, Darnold is set at 34.5, juiced to the over. So there's going to be a lot of passing, which is good for Jefferson receptions. Jefferson himself, Justin Jefferson, was over this number versus the Lions the last time these teams faced off as well. And betting markets have Justin Jefferson over 6.5 receptions juiced as well. But for Underdog, it's the standard high-low line for the multiplier odds. We like Justin Jefferson higher, 6.5 receptions. Folks, best of luck out there. I'm Josh Larky. You just got a game preview for 16 games, 10 Underdog fantasy picks in 30 minutes. Where else are you going to find that on a Friday morning? Thank you, everyone.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.